Hey, really quickly, I just want to mention that I have recently revamped my Patreon. I haven't really used Patreon in the last couple years, but I realized that if I want to be able to have the financial freedom to take on bigger or riskier artistic projects, it would be really good to ask for support on there. I wanted to make sure that by supporting me on Patreon, you're really benefiting from it. I know it's annoying when people ask you to support their Patreon and then you don't really get anything out of it. So I'm going to be releasing exclusive monthly videos on my Patreon and for the members on this channel. So consider supporting the Patreon or becoming a member of the channel if you want to see exclusive, unfiltered videos from me, or if you want to have your name listed at the end of my videos. Supporting me and being able to have the financial freedom to take on more risky artistic endeavors really means the world to me. Thank you so much. Has this ever happened to you? You're a moderately successful drama YouTuber who wants to start a comedy career, but your YouTube drama career ends up crashing and burning because you falsely accuse another YouTuber of being a pedophile. You say that you think Sneeko shouldn't be banned from YouTube even after he sexually harassed a woman, and then you lose a debate about trans people to the conservative TikToker Christian Walker, and then your comedy career crashes and burns because Moist Critical reacts to your absolutely terrible comedy roast, which ends up getting 4 million views, so now you've failed at both YouTube drama and comedy, and now you're the laughingstock of pretty much the entire internet. If all of those things have happened to you, then you are probably Deaf Noodles. And you know what? I can relate to Deaf Noodles. I have also failed at comedy before.
Then type your number out on the screen and put it up in the air.
I've also lost a debate before, and I'm sure I've also had some dumb takes at some point in my life. But the one thing I haven't done is falsely accuse Papa Gut of being a pedophile. I have only accurately accused Papa Gut of being a pedophile. That is a joke. Papa Gut is not a pedophile, as far as I know. The truth is, everyone makes mistakes in life, everyone has failures, things don't always turn out the way that you want them to, and I think that when you do fail in life, the best thing to do is take a step back, self-reflect, learn from your mistakes, and then return as a better person. Or you could say, fuck that, and return to YouTube as a right-wing MAGA grifter who makes absolutely dogshit videos that only get a couple hundred views. This is what Deaf Noodles used to look like. Look at how cute and non-threatening he looks with his little cat ears and his little fake glasses. Well, this is what Deaf Noodles looks like now. He's not soy boy Deaf Noodles anymore. Now he's alpha MAGA Deaf Noodles. He's got the MAGA hat and the red lighting and the American flag behind him and the eagle below him. He has abandoned his kitty cat ways and has accepted the path of the eagle. I guess if I ever want to become a right-wing grifter, I just need to change the color of the light behind me. Soy boy Ryan? MAGA Ryan. Soy boy Ryan? MAGA Ryan. I know a minute ago I called Deaf Noodles a right-wing grifter, but I feel like being a grifter kind of implies that you're making money from what you're doing, and right now his videos are only getting a couple hundred views each, so I would say that he's probably not even making enough money to be considered a grifter right now. I also think being a grifter implies that what you're doing isn't actually genuine, and I can't see inside of Deaf Noodles' noodle to know if what he's doing is genuine or not. But it does seem a bit suspicious to me that Deaf Noodles has gone from someone who preaches progressive values and has debates where he's defending trans people to being full-on MAGA in just a couple years. I would say that I was kind of like a moderate conservative when I was like 14, but then over the course of about 10 years, I became a leftist. But it was a very gradual progression. You just don't usually see someone making this drastic of a change this quickly. In the first video that he posted on this updated MAGA channel, he says that he's been secretly watching right-wing creators like Ben Shapiro for years now, but he was scared to tell anyone because he didn't want to get canceled.
Quietly, I began to consume more conservative media, listening to voices like Ben Shapiro, Rush Limbaugh, but I kept it to myself. Living in Los Angeles, I feared being outed as someone who leaned conservative. It felt like a career killer for anyone in the acting or writing industry. Friends who noticed warned me that my career could be over if the word got out.
So I guess rather than calling him a right-wing grifter now, it might be more accurate to say that he used to be a left-wing grifter, but now he's finally being true to his MAGA self. So I would like to congratulate Deaf Noodles for finally coming out of the closet as a dumbass. But you know what? We don't want to approach Deaf Noodles in bad faith. Maybe he is giving some real really insightful commentary in this new MAGA persona. Let's check out one of his videos to find out. For whatever reason, Def Noodles seems to like to focus on certain celebrities and then make a bunch of videos about them. For example, he's made 10 different videos about Whoopi Goldberg. I don't think I've ever met someone who cares enough about Whoopi Goldberg to make 10 different videos about her. To me, she just seems like your typical rich, out-of-touch liberal. But she seems to really upset Def Noodles for whatever reason. But what I wanted to focus on in this video is that Def Noodles has made 7 different videos coming after the comedian Bill Burr, claiming that Bill Burr has gone woke. I've always considered myself a pretty big fan of Bill Burr. I've always enjoyed his comedy, but I would definitely not consider him like super left-wing or anything. He always takes shots at people on both sides of the political aisle. He even recently made fun of white people on the left for caring so much about pronouns.
You know what's funny is white liberals are the ones that gave the definition of woke to whites on the right. So they don't, no white people really understand, it seems, what that word really meant when they took it from black people. So people on the right just think it means an insufferable, self-involved liberal douche. And they're not wrong if they're talking about a white person.
Right.
Running around crying about their pronouns is like the sun is like lighting the planet on fire.
I would consider myself a bit of a pronoun enjoyer. I'd say I'd put pronouns right above adverbs on my favorite types of words tier list. I actually don't think that trans people usually freak out about pronouns as much as people claim they do. In general, a trans person isn't gonna get upset with you unless you're purposefully using the wrong pronouns. So I might like slightly disagree with Bill Burr on his take here, but I'm not gonna freak out about it and make 7 different videos criticizing him. And I do think he brings up a good point that white people love to steal terms from black people like woke and then make them incredibly lame. This might be a bit of a hot take, but my absolute least favorite form of white people comedy is when white people put on a black accent and try to mimic a black woman and then expect everyone to clap and laugh. Girl, when the child is tea but the sis is finna bust it down. Stop. You are not funny. Anyway, I might disagree with Bill Burr on some of his opinions, but I'm not gonna make like 7 different videos criticizing him because in general, I think we should be a bit more lenient with comedians than we would be with like political commentators, for example, because a lot of times jokes aren't meant to be taken super literally in the same way that like a political speech would. But because Bill Burr has recently started leaning slightly more left and he started making fun of billionaires more in his comedy, Def Noodles has decided to make 7 different videos accusing him of going woke. Now, my first instinct when I saw this is that Mr. Noodles here might be a little bit jealous of Bill Burr, because when Def Noodles tried to do left-leaning comedy, he crashed and burned and became the laughingstock of the internet. But when Bill Burr makes left-leaning jokes in his comedy, people actually find it funny. So Dennis, instead of making all of these videos attacking Bill Burr, maybe it would be better to just try and take a step back and write some better jokes.
Welcome, folks. Today we're witnessing another Hollywood millionaire pretend to be a working class hero, Bill Burr, who caught everyone's attention this week after a bizarre meltdown on his podcast about billionaires, capitalism, and for some reason, the Gulf of America. Because nothing says man of the people like ranting about wealth inequality while sitting on a pile of cash from that little multi-billion-dollar company, you know, Netflix. Very working class, I'm sure.
So we're already off to a great start here. According to Def Noodles, Bill Burr can't possibly support working class people because he's made millions of dollars. Yet apparently Def Noodles thinks that Donald Trump can support working class people even though he's made billions of dollars. Maybe the fact that Trump has gone bankrupt so many times is why Def Noodles thinks that he can support working class people, because Trump knows what it feels like to lose a shit ton of money. So right off the bat, this is an incredibly stupid argument. Obviously, rich people are less likely to support working class people, but being rich doesn't automatically disqualify you from supporting working class people, which you would think Def Noodles agrees with as a Trump supporter.
This is so, the amount of people that are struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires, and they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much fucking money in this country, and there's so much work being done, you know, and if you work a full fucking week at a job you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get another fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down, you know, like fucking rabid dogs.
Oh, there
They're
it
like
is.
rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
Oh, look. Big old Billy Burr's back at it again. This time auditioning for a job at the Communist Manifesto Live. He's foaming at the mouth about billionaires like a guy who just discovered Reddit's late-stage capitalism page.
Oh no, because Bill Burr thinks that working class people should be able to support their families while working a full-time job, he must be a communist. In the past in America, when people could afford to buy a house and live comfortably off of working one full-time job, America must have actually been a communist country. It turns out the Soviet Union actually won the Cold War and made everyone communist, and we just never knew about it. So I highly doubt that Bill Burr is actually a communist. He probably just thinks that we should properly tax billionaires, not that we should have a stateless, classless, moneyless society. But let's see if Def Noodles has an actual argument other than Red Scare bullshit.
Screaming about wealth inequality from the comfort of his multi-million-dollar mansion. You know, the real man of the people energy. But let's break this down because, as always, when Hollywood millionaires try to play economic experts, it's like watching a goldfish try to do calculus.
It's like watching goldfish try to do calculus. This is like a joke straight out of the 1950s. Trying to get my damn wife to remember to do the dishes is like trying to get a goldfish to do calculus. Dennis, you have already proven just how much funnier you are than Bill Burr. Again, he says that Bill Burr can't possibly be a man of the people because he lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion while simultaneously supporting Trump, who literally coated his entire apartment in gold. You're gonna need to start thinking through the implications of your arguments a bit better here, Dennis.
First, we get the classic poor people suffer because billionaires exist argument. Love that one. It's like blaming bodybuilders for why you're out of shape. Oh, look at all those muscles they've hoarded. No wonder I can't run a mile.
Dennis, this has to be the stupidest analogy I've ever heard in my entire life. Bodybuilders don't actively work to keep fat people fat in the same way that billionaires work to keep poor people poor. Billionaires choose to pay their workers like shit, which is why they're poor. Bodybuilders don't choose to keep fat people fat. If there was a bodybuilder that was running around force-feeding fat people to keep them fat, then yeah, I would say he's a piece of shit in the same way that billionaires are.
Bill rants about people working full-time and still struggling to pay rent, which, yeah, sucks. But maybe, just maybe, the real villain isn't the guy running a business, but the government policy strangling the economy like a depressed anaconda.
Oh, the problem isn't billionaires. The problem is that there are too many regulations on businesses. If we just let businesses do whatever the fuck they want to do, then they'll finally pay their workers fairly. The data definitely shows that trickle-down economics has worked out great for Americans ever since Reagan was in office. Removing all government regulations on businesses is just going to make the problem worse, not better. If America is the richest country on earth, I don't think it's crazy to say that we should tax billionaires enough so that working class people can afford to buy a house or afford health care.
Then we get hit with the Marxist death wish portion of the rant, where Bill casually suggests billionaires should be put down like rabid dogs. Oh yes, the rational, level-headed take of a totally sane person like Hassan Piker. Imagine if Elon Musk went on a podcast and said, you know who needs to be put down like a rabid dog? Broke people. There'd be congressional hearings before he finished his sentence. But when a millionaire Hollywood comedian suggests we exterminate successful people, it's just good old working class rage. Weird how that works.
Okay, so your perspective is that Elon Musk saying we should kill poor people would be the same as Bill Burr saying we should kill billionaires. The difference is that poor people are not fucking over billionaires in the same way that billionaires fuck over poor people. Also, there's a bit of a difference between Elon Musk and Bill Burr. One of them is currently an advisor to the government and the other one is a comedian. I agree with you, Dennis, that murder is bad. I think we should probably properly tax billionaires, not just go around slaughtering all of them. But a comedian making an edgy joke is not the same as someone in the government saying that we should exterminate poor people. It's just so funny to me that the same people who have been claiming for years that the left is trying to kill comedy are now trying to kill comedy when the target of a comedian's edgy jokes is billionaires. I wish George Carlin were still alive so Def Noodles could make some videos about how he's also gone woke.
These fucking billionaires, they need to be put down, you know, like fucking rabid dogs.
Oh, there
They're
it
like
is.
rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
But here's my favorite part. Bill whines that billionaires are dividing everybody. Really? The guy literally calling for mass extermination is worried about division? That's like Jeffrey Dahmer complaining about a bad dinner party.
That's like Jeffrey Dahmer complaining about a bad dinner party. That's like Jim Jones complaining about a bad batch of Kool-Aid. That's like Def Noodles complaining about a bad comedy show. I love these 1950s style zingers. Please keep making them, Dennis. So your argument is that comedians making edgy jokes about billionaires is what really divides people, not the billionaires themselves pumping billions of dollars into the media to keep people arguing about culture war bullshit. Billionaires treat the working class like shit, but then once people get mad at billionaires for treating the working class like shit, they're the ones who are actually causing the division. If we truly want unity in America, then the working class should all come together and collectively suck Jeff Bezos's cock. Maybe I agree with Dennis that Bill Burr's joke was slightly too edgy. Now I hope Dennis will also go and criticize every right-wing comedian who makes edgy jokes so that he can be morally consistent.
And let's not ignore the irony here. Bill is worth millions. He's one real estate deal away from being the guy he's telling you to hate. I guarantee you, if Netflix cut him $1 billion check tomorrow, the only thing he'd be putting down is his activist face. At the end of the day, this is just another Hollywood millionaire LARPing as a Che Guevara revolutionary. He's not mad at billionaires, he's mad he's not one. So Bill, if you really want to redistribute wealth, go ahead. Sell your mansion, drain your bank account, and live like the actual working class. Oh, wait, that's right. You won't, because ranting about billionaires is way easier than actually living without all that money.
If you truly believe that working class people deserve a livable wage for working a full-time job, then you should be poor. I am very smart. So Dennis here is making an obvious straw man. Bill Burr does not believe that billionaires should redistribute all of their wealth. He just thinks that they should give away enough of their wealth so that working class people can live comfortably. And if these billionaires gave away enough of their wealth for working class people to live comfortably, they would still be multimillionaires just like Bill. Like, yeah, maybe Bill Burr could give more money to charity or something. I mean, I don't know how much money he does give to charity, but that won't fix the problem. What will fix the problem is properly taxing billionaires. It's so stupid when people say, you have a problem with the current system? Then you should give all your money to charity. Even though one multimillionaire giving their money to charity would obviously not fix the problem at all. Now, I don't think this lets rich people off the hook. I do think that rich people should live by their principles, and I think it's cringe when someone like Hassan, for example, flexes his expensive cars that he's bought with the money given to him by his working class audience. But it is incredibly stupid when someone makes a critique of the system for you to respond by saying that they should give all their money to charity when this obviously would not fix the system.
You know, just the fucking epitome of this time right now, like how divisive we are, that like, you know, the Gulf of Mexico is now called the Gulf of America, and people get excited. Like, how the fuck does that help your wallet? It's an empty gesture, and then it's also like a racist gesture. Like, that's the white guy that's him saying fuck Mexicans without saying it.
Oh, sure.
You know? Like, who has a fucking problem with Mexicans? Like, what is the real problem? This is just such an ugly fucking time.
What a wuss.
Yeah, that just sucks. That sucks.
What a bitch.
People fucking...
You are so right. Bill Burr is such a wuss. You have never been a wuss. These cat ears are extremely alpha.
Bill Burr has reached the tinfoil hat conspiracy stage of his Hollywood meltdown. This time, he's screaming into his microphone about how renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America is somehow both meaningless and a racist dog whistle. Because, you know, in Billy's world, nothing can ever just be stupid or performative. It has to be evil. Now, Bill started starts off strong by calling the name change an empty gesture that doesn't help struggling Americans, and for a fleeting second, he's actually right. Then in record speed, he veers into schizophrenic rant mode and decides that it's not just pointless, but secretly a Klan rally in disguise. That's right. Somehow, changing the name of a body of water is actually code for white people saying, F Mexicans! You have to admire the creativity. Most people see an ocean, Bill sees a hate crime.
So you think it's a schizophrenic conspiracy theory that this name change could have possibly been an FU to Mexicans? If tomorrow Lake Michigan was changed to Lake Mexico, people in Michigan would probably not be too happy about that because that body of water has cultural significance to them. In the same way, the people of Mexico are obviously not going to be happy that you came in and changed the name of a body of water that has cultural significance to them. So no, I don't think it's a schizophrenic conspiracy theory that Donald Trump could be saying F you to Mexicans by changing this name. He's been saying F you to basically every single country in the entire world for the last month with his tariff bullshit.
Now let's get something straight. Who the hell was out there protesting the name Gulf of Mexico in the first place? Did I miss the Justice for Marine Geography movement? Are Mexican fishermen being oppressed by American tide patterns? Of course not. But Bill and his Hollywood activist friends need racism to exist everywhere. Otherwise, they might have to talk about real world problems.
So ignoring the fact that you're implying that racism isn't a real world problem, you think that Bill Burr hasn't been talking about real world problems? Earlier in this video, when he talked about working class people not being able to afford to pay their bills, you don't think that that's a real world problem? What do you think is a real world problem? The fact that you're banned on Twitter, which you whine about in the banner at the bottom of all of your videos?
Then, in a final stroke of brilliance, Bill declares that people are broke and that this is an ugly time. Oh, you don't say. Then why are you foaming at the mouth about meaningless distractions while creating one in real time? Bill whines that the Gulf of Mexico name change is a waste of energy, then immediately spends the next few minutes on his podcast treating it like the single greatest moral crisis of our time. Why are people focused on this instead of real issues? Bill, you're the one talking about it. If it's such a stupid, pointless, empty gesture, why are you dedicating a full-scale meltdown to it?
What the fuck are you even talking about? A comedian complaining for 2 seconds about something dumb that Trump did is a full-scale meltdown, yet you making 7 different videos complaining about him isn't a full-scale meltdown? I can't even track this stupid logic.
This is like a guy setting his house on fire, then yelling at the fire department for wasting time putting it out.
This is like someone setting their house on fire and then yelling at the fire department for wasting time putting it out. This is like Deaf Noodles falsely accusing someone of being a pedophile, then yelling at people when they criticize him for it.
If it's such a stupid, pointless, empty gesture, why are you dedicating a full-scale meltdown to it? Maybe, just maybe, because outrage pays your bills.
Oh, and outrage doesn't pay your bills? Well, I guess technically it doesn't because your videos only get 700 views. You're complaining about Bill Burr complaining about something that doesn't matter while you've made multiple videos like Rachel Ziegler's cringeworthy meltdown, Disney's Snow White has TDS, Bill Burr defends Rachel Ziegler and woke Snow White. I guess in Deaf Noodle's mind, Trump changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico doesn't matter at all, but Snow White being woke does matter. Just a tip, Dennis, when you are criticizing someone, you need to take a second to think if those criticisms also apply to yourself or apply to Trump, the president who you apparently love now.
Bill gets to play both sides, mocking the people who care about this while still profiting from the controversy himself. He cashes in on the same culture war nonsense he pretends to be above. So congratulations, Bill. You've officially become the thing you claim to hate. Another overpaid entertainer making money off outrage while pretending to be one of the people. So in case you missed this, folks, Bill is quite literally part of the problem. He's a millionaire cosplaying as a working class hero, screeching about fake oppression while sitting on his multi-million-dollar Netflix couch. And you know he doesn't actually care, because if he did, he'd be ranting about the real reason people are broke. Biden's economic mismanagement, crushing taxes, and big government screw-ups.
Oh, the real problem is Biden's economic mismanagement, even though Biden did one of the best jobs at getting a country out of COVID compared to other countries. But let's just ignore Trump's batshit insane tariffs that instantly tank the stock market. That is definitely not economic mismanagement. I think me and Bill Burr would probably both agree with you that Biden sucks and he didn't do enough to help working class Americans, because both me and Bill are not afraid to make fun of liberals. But you are afraid to make fun of conservatives like Trump because for some reason you've decided that the best way to save your dead career is by sucking Trump and billionaire cock. I was gonna go through a couple of his other videos criticizing Bill Burr, but I think this video is already long enough. I just find all of this incredibly ironic because the right will never shut up about how the left hates comedy, but the second a comedian makes a joke that falls slightly outside of your conservative ideology, you freak the fuck out and you pick apart every word that they say and you try to act like their edgy jokes are meant to be taken completely seriously. It's almost like the right understands that people actually can be influenced by jokes. They just pretend like this isn't the case when right-wing comedians make jokes. I do think that comedy has the ability to spread genuinely bad ideas, and if you think that Bill Burr is spreading genuinely bad ideas by making edgy jokes about billionaires, then you are free to hold that perspective. But personally, I am not going to get all up in arms when a comedian makes an edgy joke about billionaires, because billionaires clearly do fuck over the working class. At the end of the day, I don't even know how much of what Dennis is saying here is actually genuine. Maybe he really is being true to his real opinions, or maybe this is all just a disingenuous grift to make money, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I don't know. But all I do know is that if he doesn't stop making all these corny 1950s ass jokes, then I don't think his channel will be growing anytime soon. Watching Def Noodles try to revive his career is like bringing a defibrillator to a cemetery. Watching Def Noodles make jokes is like watching a chicken try to play Beethoven. I wonder if the reason he calls himself Def Noodles is because his noodle has so much trouble listening.